So he says that because Trump withdrew the United States from the WHO in 2020, but then he said he turned around and gave money. It's a bait and switch. As millions were pulled from the WHO, then Trump gave billions to Gavi, and then Gavi gave it to. But there's people who push. So Whitney Webb said the same thing. I think Whitney Webb is super smart. She says, to be fair, Trump also left in mid-2020 and then just redirected what was once WHO funding to the Gates-funded Gavi Vaccine Alliance. While leaving the WHO is a positive, it is not a slam dunk summer advertising, especially considering Gates' recent comments on Trump's enthusiasm for his vaccine innovation proposals. I get called lots of names reporting things. So I think that maybe that it's not exactly accurate.
I think she's splitting hairs a little bit because if you recall, we were about to hand over our national sovereignty over pandemics to the WHO.
To the WHO.
Yeah. So what, like, that is a slam dunk that's not going to happen, because I remember that being something very stressful.
That was best.
We're actually going to do that. So no, it's a slam dunk in that sense, because the WHO's its own thing. Bill Gates sucks, though. I mean, but that WHO threat was really bad.
I did not realize Trump touted the So there's that $1.16 billion that they ended up giving to Gavi. That was already in the works. It wasn't like Trump pulled us out of the WHO in 2020 and then shifted it. It was already long time. Just like right now, the Biden administration has committed to funding Gavi for the next 5 years. So this is what Trump said after 2 months after pulling out of the WHO.
Gavi operates with great transparency, and Boris Johnson is somebody with tremendous respect for you and everything you do. He called, he said, do you think you could do something maybe around the Oval Office or right by the Oval Office? I said, why not? It happens to be right behind me. As the coronavirus has shown, there are no borders. It doesn't discriminate. It's mean, it's nasty, but we're going to all take care of it together. It's great to be partnering with you. We will work hard. We will work strong. Send my regards to Boris, and good luck. Let's get the answer.
Yeah, well, the reason that Fauci has a blanket pardon.
Yeah.
Because there's a threat of something happening.
Because Trump was going to go after him. So here,
that's why I'm like,
So here, Alexandros Marinos said there was no change in funding to Gavi in 2020. A little more digging, I have found detailed numbers. There was no change in Gavi funding by the U.S. in 2020. The last change was the 2015 pledge by the Obama administration. So that was already in the pipeline. Trump didn't then do a sleight of hand. That's according to Alexandros.
Hey, Trump gave a Freedom Medal to Fauci also back then. Remember that?
Yeah. Trump also gave a Freedom Medal to Fauci. And now they're having to give him a blanket pardon because they're afraid of what Trump's going to do. Here, your favorite black pill dealer. Oh, so he tweets out saying that's not true. The USAID funding to Gavi was part of a long-term funding stream that USAID had been providing to Gavi since 2001.
Oh, that's the CIA, USAID.
Yes, that's the CIA.
Well, or that's not good for the bioweapon aspect of this story, is it?
So, as Donald Trump pulls funding from the WHO, what many do not know is that Jill Biden signed a 5-year commitment to 2024 to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Gavi. Did you know this? There is an 8% increase in funding over the next 5 years. So a Gates-affiliated vaccine company still gets billions from the U.S. taxpayer.
Wait, who's Jill Biden?
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
Is that a misprint?
At 2024 Global Forum for Vaccine Sovereignty and Innovation, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden announced that the United States government's pledge of at least $1.58 billion to support Gavi, the vaccine alliance, over the next 5 years. This commitment builds on a 24-year partnership that has immunized over 1 billion children and saved. The new funding aims to vaccinate the next 1 billion children within a decade, saving over 8 months. This pledge, so there it is. It is my honor to announce.
You're a doctor.
It is my honor to announce that my husband, President Biden, working with Congress, is pledging $1.58 billion over the next 5 years to support Gavi's efforts. The United States is deeply committed to. So that's the CIA, that's the deep state doing that, and she was just announcing it, Jill Biden.
Oh, okay.
So it's already
Bill Gates saying that he had a great conversation with Trump is not Trump saying he had a great conversation with Bill Gates.
That's
You know what I mean?
right.
Like, who cares if Bill Gates said that?
That's right. I would say it too.
So
anyway, I
I'm
a big fan of Whitney Webb's. She's always welcome on this show. I refer to her as Whitey. But
Whitey Webb, yeah.
Whitey Webb. That's my nickname for her. So I think she's technically correct. They did give more funding to Gavi in 2020, but I think that it wasn't a switcheroo by Trump. And it doesn't, and so it is a good deal and she admits also that it's a good deal that we pulled out of the WHO, and just for the reason you said, they were trying they were passing legislation in the U.S. Congress to give it away to the WHO so they could run our country if there was another pandemic, which they would then engineer.
And Dr. Hotez has promised there shall be.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's good news that Trump did that. So that's definitely a positive. What's not a positive is that we're now funding the WHO through Gavi. We're still using taxpayer money to fund it through Gavi. So people don't know this.
Yeah. Well,
and who runs Gavi? Who founded Gavi? Bill Gates. Who's the second biggest donor? It's the Bill and Melinda Gates. So those two combined become the biggest donor to the WHO. People wouldn't see that it was directly coming from the CIA. Anyway, all right, over to Seth.
Okay, our special guest has arrived, just so
okay.
you know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Costello is asking, can we please rewind, fast forward on our stream? That's the perk that you get when you join the Jimmy Dore Show for $10 a month. You get the live stream in its entirety, because sometimes there are clips that we don't necessarily drop, but you get to see the show live at your own convenience. I mean, that's really what it's about. And so you get the entirety of the live stream, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the perk that we give. And if you just want the audio, that's $5 a month. All right. So
that's the way.
Thank you, Costello. Show Jimmy.
We have a lot of employees at the show. That's a way that you can support the show to help Misha needs a kidney transplant, and we're trying to save up. Yeah, you're right.
Misha said thank you.
We're tired of her pissing all over the studio.
Yeah, that's been awkward.
Is that a sign of you need a transplant?
I think she has a bladder problem. Anyway.
Yeah.
My_war says, in God we trust, all others pay in digital currency. Look at you. Vigilante Cheetah, you came back for more? You get the big bells. Vigilante Cheetah, big bells. Thank you.
Okay,
keep up the good work. Back to Jim.
So guess what? End Tribalism in Politics tweets out, New York City Mayor Eric Adams joins RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard in explaining why he left the Democratic Party. Just keep in mind, Eric Adams has received more graft than Joe Biden's hair transplants. And he thinks the Democrats don't represent him.
Remember the Al Smith dinner and Trump? I go,
Trump
watch
said,
what's going to happen
yes.
with Eric Adams. And Trump goes, I got a feeling you're going to be okay. I saw this coming.
Yes.
So,
creating your flight.
And that's exactly what you happen. So people often say, well, you don't sound like a Democrat, and you seem to have left the party. No, the party left me, and it left working class people. And our conversations that we should be talking about are not the issues that everyday people that are in power are talking about. People are concerned about the future of their families, and that should be our focus, and that's the focus of this administration.
It does seem that way.
It does seem that way.
Eric Adams is a corrupt guy that he somehow skated they were turning on him, and then he got some kind of protection. I wonder if he ratted somebody out about something, because he's such a corrupt guy. Eric Adams is a scumbag.
They all do what he did. So you could tell that he crossed the wrong person or the wrong deep state or somebody, because he took trips to Turkey. They gave him free trips to Turkey. That's what they're getting him on. And he gave building permits.
Yeah.
Everybody does that. So for them to
Right.
do that to Bill Clinton took $500,000 from a Kremlin bank.
You're not really going to get elected unless you've thoroughly, like how the great Joe Biden once said, showed that you're a whore to the
That's right.
major
Prosti-
donors.
Like you're willing to prostitute yourself to the money men.
And I swear to God, I really believe this. Trump's not blackmailable. And that's one of the reasons he's unacceptable for democracy, because you can't blackmail him.
It seems that way. That seems the worst thing they could get on him was that there was an undercover video of him on a hot mic saying that if you're famous enough, women will let you
They
grab him.
let you, he said.
He
So that's
said they will
consent, by
let
the
you.
way.
Women
They
will let you grab him by the.
Yeah. And by the way, we know that's true because all the stuff that's come out since about Hollywood scumbags.
Of course it's true.
Yeah.
Of course
It's
it's
called
true.
the Scottsdale handshake, by the way, if you go to Scottsdale.
It's called the Scottsdale handshake.
Yeah, I've heard of this literally. Like, 'cause Barry Crimmins is like, I've never heard anyone say it. I have. What do you think money does? By the way, everybody in the medical profession, all the doctors that went along with Big Pharma, they allowed Big Pharma to grab them by the pussy, didn't they? If you have money, they let you do anything. That's a fact.
Okay. All right. So there's Eric Adams saying that not a Democrat. Democratic Party left him. He's not part of the party anymore. There it is. He just said it.
Yeah, he was trying his best to be corrupt, and it wasn't enough for them.
Wasn't enough. All right, over to Steph.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Here we go. Peter version 1. Jimmy and his guests have the same eyeglasses. I did not think so. Excellent guest. I've been listening busy with my son with remote learning, aka homeschooling for snow days. His passion made me listen closely. Thank you, Derek. Much appreciated. Have this guy back on the show soon, Jimmy. Yes, I'm eager to see if he ends up being able to meet with Trump this Friday. I wonder if he's going to come to town to meet him. That was N. Welsh. On 9/10/01, Joe Biden was on TV worried about an anthrax terror event that would require investments in new genetic vaccines. Sound familiar? mRNA inventor Robert Malone, his buddy Stephen Hatfield. No. Thank you, John. I would like to suggest a gong instead of bells. Thank you, Maxwell. I will look for a gong. I like the idea of a gong, too. Robert, will Jimmy ever interview James Earl Files, the guy who fired the last shot at JFK? Robert, thank you for that recommendation. That is a first for this show. Much appreciated. Please interview Jennifer Bilek, author of the 11th Hour blog and book. This is not about the LGB, the deaf bartender. Thank you for the recommendation. A new generation of people who have never known real discrimination have entered the movement after all the aims had been achieved, but they still want something to do, so they invent discrimination. Jack P. 22. Thank you, Jack.
They want discrimination. That's what they want. That was what that whole equity nonsense was discriminate
Right.
in my favor over other people.
Agreed. Hey, check out microwave radio frequencies, 5G, 6G, graphene, nanomaterials, technologies used in neurological warfare by Fabian Durrell on pubmed.gov. Hemcar. Thank you, Hemcar. Isn't it
Can you put
weird?
Henry on the line?
Isn't it weird the word sanction has two meanings that are polar opposite? Thank you, Holocaustifter. All right. NG Hermit, watch this. Tyler Fisher has a take on Trump's inner monologue at that church. Thank you for the link, NG Hermit. I will check that out. Everyone is freaking out about Elon. Hold on. I got to get a gong. Everybody is freaking out about Elon Musk throwing a supposed Nazi salute. Then in the summer, you'll take your kids to Disneyland forgetting Walt Disney was a Nazi supporter. Look at you, my_war, coming in with the facts. Love you, Jimmy. But I disagree. Look at you, Ann Janice. I disagree with you on Musk. His family were card-carrying members of Canada Nazi Party before moving to South Africa. They moved to South Africa because of that ideology, and neurodivergence lowers impulse control. And Janice, I appreciate that perspective, Ann. Janice, if you could reason with people, you wouldn't have to. The 138. Oh, So wise. So wise, 138. Jimmy, I know you're down about your hair. I know it, buddy. But you look magnitudes better with that old man gray. Wise looking quite the silver fox. I think you could have taken out that old man gray. I think you were really good, Bradley, up to that point. Hassan wants to know when are you dropping your podcast?
Oh, I still got to record a couple more of them.
Okay. All right.
I did a whole season of them.
Oh, look at you. A whole season of them. Hey,
Yeah, in
Elon.
the meantime, go on Bad Art Show. I do that one. That's Jenna's
Right.
one. And,
Bad Art.
the
Check
last
it out.
one's good. Last one's very good, I think.
F. Hassau, Elon is a space nerd. Obviously, he's throwing up the Romulan salute. He answers to a greater power. F.
It's just, is
Hassau.
everybody a child that they don't understand a autistic person being awkward? They're all going to sit and make hay out of this nonsense when there's so many more things
Right.
that you could look into.
Yeah, why are you
Yeah,
focusing
that's
on
what they're
that?
gonna do. Go mind control as everybody's under, and they're very stupid.
Mhm.
Everyone's a moron. Isn't that weird?
Well,
All the smart people are morons now.
it's easier to focus on that Hitler salute than it is to how many children are missing. Where are all the children, right? Aren't there something like over 200,000 children that are missing from the border?
Take your pick of things that are missing. Take your pick of the ruin of the country that you live in. Other people, oh, China's not doing good. They got flying cars in China now, in the commie country.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe they have
Goog,
flying
give it
cars.
a goog.
Agent
Give it a Google.
Archer, surveillance state stooge, CIA tech bro, and Oracle founder Larry Ellison wants to use AI to make mRNA vaccines to cure cancer. What could possibly go wrong? Time to have Dr. Malone back. You got that right, Agent Archer. You know, it's so funny seeing you sit over there right now. I'm like, what is she getting ready to do? Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Trump trying to overturn birthright citizenship? Wouldn't you agree that something's enshrined in the Constitution? Do you agree with Trump? No, Jimmy does not agree with Trump. I'll say that for Jimmy anyways. But like, I'm
About what?
Say it again, Kurt.
Agree with them about what?
Do you agree? What are your thoughts about Trump overturning the birthright citizenship?
if you're born here, you're
Yeah,
Did he
you're born here, you're a
overturn it?
citizen. But a lot of people, you know, want to say that the people that come here just to have their babies, anchor babies and stuff like that.
I've always been for anchor babies. I like that. That's like an international game show.
I've
you know?
often wanted my own anchor baby. That didn't work out. I'm barren.
America's like an NBA player that foreign women must hook with a baby.
Democrats have turned their backs on the working class. My_war. The man fought fires all while one is raging within him. What a great guest. Hope to see him on again, Agent Archer. J Pro Plumbing. Jimmy, can you please have Christina Urso at Notre Dame's on to discuss Gretchen Whitmer's Fed-napping hoax? Very important issue being ignored by everyone. Costello, please oh, I already answered that one, Costello. I know you want us to do that. Pause it, all that, fast forward. Yeah, but that's the perk we give the live stream. My_war, in God we trust, all others pay in digital currency. Great, got that one. All right, let's see here. I read that one. I'm just reviewing stuff that I haven't gotten to yet, just in case. Read that one. Vigilante Cheetah, you're very generous today. What's going on? Check out Microwave Radio. Ferguson Purple. Okay, red. Oh, the announcement of the Golden Age is an announcement of the Romans becoming slaves. America is Rome. Dark purple glue. At 1:09, Jim Lee of Climate Viewers shows military documents admitting they sent hurricanes to Cuba using weather weapons. And that's on Rumble. Thank you, Hempcar. Purple glue, the village people rep the rainbow. The rainbow reps the Noah Hyde laws. The Noah Hyde laws. I'm not familiar with that. Purple glue, thank you. The deaf bartender, thank you for the recommendation of Jennifer Bialik. Fuck the government for going to church on Inauguration Day. They got exactly what they deserved, acting like they're moral. Fuck them. Sound Chaser, they've been doing it ever since 1933, I guess. That's been a part of that day's events.
It's not a real church, by the way. It's an Episcopal church, which is like a nonsense church. I mean, it's utterly, it couldn't be less of a, I don't know why anybody would bother to go to church at that point if they're going to be Episcopalian, because it's not, it's like the weakest tea of being like a Christian. Just don't bother with it if you don't like it, you know?
Yes.
Don't put on a rainbow priest outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an issue with the rainbow flag at church. A
It's
new
just like, hey, I want to be a diverse Klansman.
I mean,
Or
if you're
some
going to church,
stupidity.
aren't you? Yeah, if you're going to church
not for
already,
you.
isn't it just you're supposed to be welcoming the masses anyways? Why do you have to have a flag to show that who you're welcoming? Ah, boy, don't get me started. Hey, a new generation of people who have never been real discrimination have entered the movement after all the aims had been achieved, but they still want something to do, so they invent discrimination. That was from Jack. I think I read that one earlier.
Well,
Let's
there's
see.
no jobs. So what are they supposed to do? They have school loans and they learn absolute nonsense in school.
Oh
Just
no.
worthless nonsense. All that shit that I hate that I've heard for the last 12 years came from millennials that were never going to own anything. They got cheated. And to cover over the fact they got cheated out of everything, they were given free reign to do identity bullshit and act like little kids. And that's why we're here where we are now.
Yeah. I that is such a long conversation I want to have with you. Hey, so all good Lori, she said she went on The View. So I guess the bishop went on The View. No, I'm gonna have to watch that. This shirt, this is one of our new T-shirts that we have on sale. We were talking. Somebody goes, "Why don't we ever like push our merch?" Here we go, pushing the merch. There you go, dudes and dudettes. All right, let me see anything else. Okay, here we go. I'm scrolling. Let's see what this one. Thank you, Jimmy, for everything you do. You and Kurt are hilarious and makes the truth tolerable. Misha is hilarious. Steph is the glue that keeps it together. Color looks great on Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you. And that was from our good friend, the Robert Paulson. The Robert Paulson. I love it. Okay, let's go on. Getting ready. Jimmy, 2073 is a must-watch film. American First. Thank you, American First. Much appreciated. I'll hand that to him. All right. I don't know what that's about. Oh, Betsy can't wait to see you, our special guest. Betsy is very excited about that one.
Turn off the AC.
Here you go.
How's it going?
All right, let's see here. I'm still scrolling.
Okay.
Still scrolling. Are you all set?
Yeah.
All right, you feel good, comfortable? You can kick that out of your way if you want to.
The
Yes. No. All right, we're gonna fix something.
Okay.
Do you want to talk to the audience right now while I get up?
come to me.
All right.
I need to get more sleep. I'll tell you that.
Me too.
My sleep is not good.
Maybe we should.
I
sleep
took
together.
some of that CBD oil last night supposed to help you sleep. It did. That it does work. It does work. But I got better sleep.
How do you know?
Because I know when I wake up how often I look at the. Sometimes
Yeah,
I'll
you
wake up.
shouldn't, deconstruct your sleep so much while you're sleeping. It's not.
I got to get one of those
healthy.
things you wear, like you put on your finger that tells you how long
Yeah.
you're in sleep. Yeah, I got to get one of those. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the. Our guest is in studio. Jay Johnston is an American comedian and actor who has appeared on TV shows including HBO sketch comedy series Mr. Show, The Sarah Silverman Program, Bob's Burgers, and Arrested Development, and the films Men in Black 2, Bicentennial Man, and Anchorman. He was recently pardoned by Donald Trump after pleading guilty to a felony count of interfering with law enforcement relating to involvement in January 6th. He's very dangerous. He's a criminal. And he's here for us today. Nice to see you, Jay. How are you?
Thank
Jay
you,
Boogaloo
Great, Jimmy.
Johnston.
So now
Nice to
there,
see you.
if you all saw Anchorman, there is hilarious in Anchorman, and here's what happened, right? So, Bob's Burgers actor sentenced to 1 year in prison. Did they ask you to make kind of a smirk on your face for that?
No, they just put me on the old red carpet, and
Okay.
that's what happened.
I hate the red carpet. I was
so
only-
does he.
Actor known for role. This is how it was reported. You were sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison. You voiced the role of Jimmy Pesto in Bob's Burgers and played Officer Taylor on Arrested Development. You pleaded guilty to a felony count of interfering with law enforcement during a civil disorder. Prosecutors said that you flew from Los Angeles to Washington the day before the riot, then marched to the Capitol after. I hate when you march.
Oh, it
Why are you
hurts.
marching? Just walk. Why wouldn't you just walk?
Man, it was all for show.
Is that okay? And Stop the Steal rally on January 6th. There he used a stolen police riot shield.
I brought it with.
Interesting
I stole it
story
in a
about
different
that.
State. Yeah.
To form a shield wall inside a tunnel against law enforcement and participated in a heave-ho push
Mm-hmm.
that pinned and crushed a police officer against a door frame. They said. Crushed him so bad that nothing happened. But anyway,
right.
I have updated news. He did not need the pardon because they dismissed the case with prejudice. So this is the notice of electronic filing. This is from the U.S. District Court, District Columbia. USA versus, that is so
Yeah.
weird to see that.
Yeah. 4 extra co-defendants on my case, and it's et al.
Yeah.
They get all Latin, and they don't even put anyone else's name on there.
So here is, it says, minute order as to J. James Johnston and Nathan Earl Hughes. The motion to dismiss the case is granted.
Mm-hmm.
The third superseding indictment is hereby dismissed with prejudice. As why don't you like people of color when you're dismissing?
I don't know. It's horrible.
Okay, so this signed by Judge Carl J. Nichols on January 21st. So the case is dismissed with prejudice, and what that means is they can never charge you again for this crime. That's what with prejudice means.
I see.
So you knew that, right?
Well, I'm acting like it's in new information, but I just like that my name turned into J. Hames Johnston on the second printing. J. Hames.
Where is that?
It's in the second.
Down there, Jay Hames.
Yeah, J. Hames.
It's like Ray J. Johnson. You can call me Jay, and you can call me Hames.
Oh, right here, Jay Hames.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
It's my Nick, which is short for nickname.
So, the people who watch the show are familiar with the fact that January 6th riot, there was thousands and thousands of people there. 99.9% of them were completely nonviolent. There's videos which they didn't want you to see, but we did get access to them, of people walking through the Capitol, staying inside the red velvet lines, being very respectful. Nobody brought guns. That's what I tried to tell Cornel West. He said, they tried to overthrow. And I'm like, really? A bunch of Second Amendment gun nuts showed up at the Capitol to overthrow the government? That's the narrative. But son of a bitch, they forgot their guns. I bet
they think they brought guns, Jimmy.
I bet they were embarrassed. I bet they were really embarrassed.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's Clay Higgins. Now, he's a congressman who actually investigated this. And I just want people to know that this was a psyop from months ahead of time. So they had, listen to what he said.
So real hard, objective, and conservative estimates would put the number of FBI assets in the crowd, outside, and working inside at well over 200.
200?
Yeah.
So he goes on to say that there were FBI assets and policemen inside the Capitol before the riot started, dressed up in their police. Then they would change into outfits that made them look like MAGA supporters with MAGA hats inside the Capitol. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? So this whole thing was to make sure Trump, they did it to Bolsonaro in Brazil, by the way, if you don't know this. So they did the same thing because they didn't want Bolsonaro because he was considered the Trump of Brazil, to be able to run for president again. So they staged a January 6th down in Brazil, and then they passed a law saying, no, he tried to overthrow the government, so he can't ever run for president again. That's what they wanted to have happen to Donald Trump, but he didn't do anything. So they couldn't ever prosecute him on that. They never prosecute. If he did that, why didn't they prosecute? They never. So that's what all those 4 different lawsuits were against him when they charged Donald Trump. It was to try to get a felony indictment so he could be kicked off of ballots, but none of it worked. None of it worked. So just so you know that the Justice Department, you don't have to be a fan of Donald Trump. I've criticized Donald Trump plenty on this show.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
And yeah.
Where's my placard?
The point is, if they can do this to Donald Trump, they'll do this to anybody that the establishment doesn't like. They'll do it to Bernie Sanders. They'll do it to Jill Stein. They'll do it to Cornel West. Anybody who poses a threat If you actually pose a threat to be able to grab power, they will then try to turn you and your political movement into criminals, which is exactly what they did. The same exact playbook they did in Brazil, the exact same one. So, and there were conservative estimate, over 200 FBI assets in the crowd and inside the Capitol. And so
They didn't stop it.
And here is Clay. Here he is
We
when
did our best.
he's asking the head of the FBI how many assets you had in the crowd. And watch this.
Does the FBI have confidential human sources? Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when
Even
we
now,
are.
because that's what you told us
May I
2 years
finish?
ago.
May I finish?
May I finish?
About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It
in
should
what
be
I
a
can
no.
say.
Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol.
Gentleman's
on January
time
6th.
has expired.
You should not read anything into my
To me, not
not to share information.
Director Wray,
Confidential human.
Gentleman's
you
time
should
has
not do
expired.
normal.
Yeah.
You should not have a normal response to what I'm saying. You should not read anything into me not being able to say no.
Hey, Jimmy,
And
if
he-
they didn't instigate anything, why do you even have confidential informants there? Because they didn't prevent that bloody day of the September 11th of Democrats. So why are they there then?
Yeah,
A
what
lot
are
of
they
people
there?
point
got
of that?
fired. A lot of people got fired. They did
Yeah.
a shitty job.
So here's Ray Epps. Here's one of those FBI confidential assets. And here he is.
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What?
Fed.
Peacefully. Fed.
So everybody there knows that guy's a Fed, and he was on the FBI's most wanted list, and then it disappeared the next day, and nobody can tell you why that happened. And it's because he was working with the FBI. That's why. And he bragged about it in text that he instigated it and all that. And then finally, they gave him 6 months probation. That was their big thing. Everybody else is getting 20 years, and Jay got a year for doing. And anyway,
I got to say, I didn't think he was a Fed when I was there. He was standing next to me for a while and yelling at somebody, and then they launched some tear gas over where we were. And I ran like a little sissy because I couldn't breathe.
yeah, I hate
And-
tear gas.
Yeah, it's terrible. And
Did you cry?
he was, well, come on, Kurt, please. Those were tears of gas, not my tears. But as I was running away, I could hear him say, "Come on, breathe it in, you pussies. We did this in boot camp." And, I was like, wow, that guy is a badass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
a Fed, all right.
So he was never, and this guy was never, everybody was talking about Ray Epps. This guy was never asked to testify in front of the January 6th committee. Isn't that interesting?
Hmm. He breathes tear gas, though.
Yeah. So here's one more video of Clay Higgins.
From my perspective, sir, the FBI was not only involved in the actions on January 6th from within. They had, I suspect, over 200 agents embedded within the crowd, including agents, or as they would call human assets, inside the Capitol, dressed as Trump supporters before the doors were opened. Beyond that, the FBI had embedded themselves and infiltrated online chat groups and websites and social media accounts across the country with any group that was discussing objections to COVID oppression. And the FBI, effectively infiltrated those groups. And when you track the text threads and the communications within those groups and find the origins of suggestions of potential violence or an active occupation of the Capitol on January 6th, You'll find that those messages were led by members of the groups that ended up to be the FBI agents that had infiltrated the group. So the FBI's involvement was deep, not just on J6, but on the days and weeks and months prior.
Did you see how scary that crowd
And of course,
was?
the
Yeah,
video.
did you see how scary
Yeah.
they were?
Terrifying, terrifying. Meandering
People
at
that
best.
loved cops this whole time. The,
Yeah,
the Blue
the-
Lives
no-
Matter people.
Yeah. By
They
the
were
way,
attacking the cops.
now, and there's the lie going around that 6 cops were killed that day. No cop was killed on January. No, not one.
Well, then
Well, there was
they
a couple
weren't telling the
suicides.
truth. Is
which-
that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes. So they
Wait,
they committed suicide, or they died of one guy died of a heart attack, one guy died of a stroke. The rest of them committed suicide. There was nobody. The only person killed on January 6th was a protester, and she was ex-Navy
Yep,
military.
veteran, right?
Is it weird 2 guys committed suicide to anybody, by the way? Since when do cops commit suicide over January 6th type events? I've never
It's
even heard
just
of anything
recently
like
been
that.
released, also showing the Capitol Police welcoming in people into the Capitol, not trying to keep them out as we were led to believe initially, undermining this whole insurrection narrative. Congressman, we're also now.
So I just wanted to show you that. I wanted to show because the last time I had you on, I think I forgot to show because I forgot that everybody's going to watch this, and they don't know anything about January 6th except what they're told on CNN.
Hmm.
They don't know anything about it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
They don't know that there were. I don't know how many there was. If I wish I can't believe I don't have the picture, but I saw a picture of the crowd. It was
incredible.
incredibly enormous.
Yes.
Incredibly enormous. And the amount of people from that crowd who went into the Capitol had to be less than 1/10 of 1% of the people there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was amazing.
So
the
overwhelming peaceful protest.
mhm.
And then there was FBI assets in the crowd that instigated violence like they do. That's not a that's how that's part of their psyop.
Yeah.
And
They
so
did it with BLM.
They did it with-
with
we
BLM.
caught
know
them.
they did now.
yes.
Mhm.
So tell the story about how you got a hold of a police sheet. That's what they got you with, right?
Well, that's what I came for. I wanted to get my own police shield to go home with.
So they tried to say that they made it sound like you stole a police shield from
Yeah,
a cop.
right.
That's not what happened, right?
Correct. It is not what happened. I
What-
was not even paying attention, to be honest. I was looking over off in the distance, and somebody hit me with the police shield, and I turned and they handed it to me. And, I took it like I usually do with police shields.
Yeah.
And and I looked at it and I thought, this is a police shield. I don't want this in my hands. And so I went to give it back to the police. And it was bad timing because they were yelling, shield wall. And I put it in the last place that was open, completing the shield wall, but handing it to the police over the guy who was fighting with the police in front of me.
Now, was there a box of police shields nearby?
Well, I brought some, but other than that, no, there was not. They were just pulling them off the police that were
Oh,
they were
okay.
fighting with about 4 or 5 feet away,
Okay.
and then they were handing them up to pass them to the crowd or something. And I took them in the different direction. I took
So-
it in the different
So
direction.
so most of the people who you knew all your life in Hollywood, they don't really know the story of January 6th.
No. That's not.
None of them.
You don't do that. You don't find out
Right.
the truth. You watch the news and you just settle on that. That's what people have done. And it amazes me how many people have no idea what really happened. And I figured that, well, eventually the truth will come out and, whoopee-doo in the meantime. It's going to be a lot of fun while people still don't know and they still, accuse you of, causing an insurrection or making them feel like their family is under attack, and then it's going to destroy our country. And
Right.
yeah, and then when I was there, I saw a lot of like the whole thing with the 200 CHSs or informants or
Right.
assets.
FBI assets.
FBI, like that came up like a couple of years ago and then just went away, didn't it, for quite a while?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean it's been gone for a while. So this information, and now I've heard
The pipe bomb that was planted.
Yeah.
That was also now. There's
Yeah.
credible evidence that was a FBI asset that
Yeah.
did that. Yes.
absolutely right. Yeah,
Which
so
obviously it was. By the way,
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's 4 cops suddenly committed suicide after January 6th.
Yeah. and-
The only reason given is they were so traumatized by that dark day. Really? You think that's why? You think that maybe that's why Epstein committed suicide, because of the dark events?
yes.
So
What?
let me see what I have. I have Tucker Carlson in. I don't know why I have this in there. Let's hear what he has to say. I forget what this video is.
And that was a tip off to me. I mean, I had no thought in my head as I watched this happen on television and in the subsequent weeks that U.S. law enforcement or military agencies had anything to do with it. That never crossed my mind. I never thought it was a false flag or anything like that. I'm not a conspiracist by temperament. I never thought that. And then I interviewed the chief of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, in an interview that was never aired on Fox, by the way. I was fired before it could air. I'm going to interview him again. But Stephen Sund was the totally non-political, worked for Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this was not some right-wing activist. He was the chief of the Capitol Police on January 6th. And he said, oh, yeah. That crowd was filled with federal agents. What? Yes. Well, he would know, of course, because he was in charge of security at the site. So the more time has passed, now it's been...
That was a good interview with Stephen Sund. It was amazing because he did fill in a lot of the blanks of the confusion of like how this thing could possibly, I guess, be orchestrated. You know,
it was 100% orchestrated. People don't know that, and you don't have to. Again, you don't have to like Donald Trump to be worried about that, because they'll do that to anybody who the establishment is afraid of grabbing power.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it's Jill Stein or Cornel West, anybody who the establishment, this is what they do. This is the playbook, right? And so that's the thing I've tried to, and even Nancy Pelosi's daughter, which hopefully I'll have the video in a second. Nancy Pelosi's daughter was caught on undercover video admitting that no, this was no insurrection. Because if an insurrection, you have guns, you have a plan. There was no plan. This was just a riot.
Yeah, well, it was barely that even.
Barely
I felt it was kind of boring when I was there. I was my first protest, and I was standing around noticing that these sort of very fit guys with fatigues on that were obviously from their military service. They were veterans, and they had the packs and everything, and they would pull things out of their backpacks that I thought, well, geez, nobody told me to bring bear mace, and nobody told me to bring, a helmet or gloves with knuckles in them. And I was thinking, this is a little weird. What are these guys fighting the cops for? I mean, like, why are they causing this shit? And so I just started swinging, you know. I didn't. I just filmed stuff. And it was pretty amazing because I felt like I really had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like what's next? And it was all pockets of violence here, there. It was not continuous. It wasn't like, hey, let's get them, and a big rush of people going up there. But of course they edited it, showing it live, cutting to this camera, that camera to seem like it was all just constant action and violence. And it was not.
Yeah, so I've heard people say, when I said, hey, did you see the videos that the January 6th committee didn't show? The videos of the people that the overwhelming majority of people who went into the Capitol were peaceful. Did you see this picture, the videos of the cops allowing people in? Did you see the videos of the cops taking selfies in the rotunda with the protesters? No, you didn't say. And I've had people say to me, oh, those videos are cherry picked.
You cherry picked the evidence?
Either,
Are you joking?
either those videos existed and that actually happened or not. Why? So they've been trained like a SEAL by cable news to just dismiss evidence that debunks the narrative that the establishment wants you to believe.
Yeah. And
just like they had to give a pardon to Joe Biden's entire family going back to 2014. Why is that? Oh, that's when the United States overthrew the government in Ukraine, and Joe Biden started doing money laundering and human trafficking, which is what 5 of the top banks in America sent 170 reports to the Treasury Department about Joe Biden's family, accusing them of money laundering and human trafficking. Did you know that? You're never going to hear that on the news either. That's why Joe Biden just pardoned his entire family going back to 2014. Isn't that interesting? Again, that's nothing you're going to hear on the news. That's why, and none of the people who you knew or I knew in Hollywood are never going to know that, right?
Well, that's why I come to this show, to learn these things. That's amazing. That's incredible.
And I've been accused of everything in the book because I won't vote for Democrats anymore. I stopped doing that in 2016 when they rigged their primary against Bernie Sanders. And so that's why I've been supporting third-party candidates. And all the things that are hallmarks of being a left-winger, I still am, right? I'm anti-censorship, pro-free speech. If you do that now, they call you a right-winger. I'm anti-war. I'm against the Ukraine war. If you do that, they call you a right-winger. I'm against the Nazis in Ukraine, legit Nazis. I'm against a proxy war. I am. I'm for bodily autonomy, which people used to be before COVID. Now they say they're pro-abortion. I'm still for bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
That they call you a right-winger. I still believe in actual science, not garbage science. That makes me a right-winger. With this, they said.
Mm-hmm.
They made you. So there was all those. So I'm still a solid left-winger. I'm just not a Democrat because Democrats are authoritarian. They're fascists. They're not. So just like the Republicans, just like the establishment Republicans. Anyway, so I just wanted to get that out. Because again, the last time I had you on, I forgot. I'm like, oh, that's right. Every asswipe that I ever did fucking comedy with is going to watch this video.
Mm.
And they don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about January 6th. And they love to not know. Just like they they love to not know about COVID. They love to not know that they just hear the propaganda and they repeat it.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
My friends from New York comics who were down here playing Militia have jokes about it. They don't even know that people didn't have guns. They think people brought guns. They couldn't be less informed about anything. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I had gum. I mean, does that count?
That's different. That's different.
Okay. I handed it out. Okay.
And so your career has been completely ruined by an FBI psyop of the establishment to try to stop Donald Trump from gaining power.
Well, in a word, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous.
And so, go speak to that. Would you have anything you'd like to say about it and how that has affected your life? And
well, can I move this
you can kick it right out of the way.
or whatever it is?
Yeah, you kick it right out.
Okay, thank you. That's much better. So, well, the thing that amazes me about this whole experience is that I'm now free, and I had no idea that it would be so the same as being not free, except mentally. The burden is lifted.
Mm-hmm.
Preparing for prison is a lot bigger of a thing than I expected it to be. It's a lot. It hangs on you a bit, and not seeing your family and that type of thing.
Yeah.
The fact that people are so uninformed is terrifying because there is sort of a level of comfort in half-truths or just accepting whatever they see on I guess mainstream media, the news that is obviously, if it's in black and white or if it's said by a newscaster, it's the truth, because it's so silly to consider anything other than that. It's a waste of their time. Is a very sad thing. I don't think that most of the people that were at that event, at the January 6th thing, ever intended to really step in the way of any proceedings with the government except to stand up and be counted based on the ridiculous outfits they had, with the Trump hats and shirts and the huge banners and everything. That's not fighting gear, the fact that nobody had guns, the fact that everyone was probably, I'm not everyone, but I mean a shitload of people were 10 to 15 years my senior. I would look around and go like, oh, geez, this is a really old event. And people having trouble kind of going up the stairs and looking for places to sit down. That's not an insurrection type of group. Sandals and kids and
put on your fighting sandals.
Yeah, bring your fold-up chair that you can put on your shoulder as you walk through the crowd, and then open it up and have an orange juice or something. That's not a riot scene. So I did experience a few times where people would, in this one in particular, a guy came up who was pretty young and kind of fit in a military haircut. This, of course, I didn't realize until afterwards. He came up all excited and said, "Oh my God, did you hear this woman, this this teenager was shot inside the Capitol, right in the neck, and she died. And I was like, what the hell? And I was standing with people I didn't know because I got separated from the people I was with, and I turned to them. I said, "Wow, that's pretty crazy." And do you think that's true? And they're like, "Yeah, I heard something happened, and I don't know if she's dead, but I heard she was bleeding, and the ambulance is here." And the guy just went along to other people who were standing, like watching, something was happening in front of us. Moved along the line and just kept saying this information. Did you hear this girl got shot? And all this stuff. And that was, of course, Ashley Babbitt. And it was a very odd thing that stood out in my mind because the particulars were all wrong. She was not a teenager, and it was. I don't know if she'd actually passed away at that point, but it struck me after the fact that he was very excited to tell people, and I thought that's kind of inflammatory in a sense, just go around and start, spreading things like that, and boy, that means we should really give them hell, or whatever.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. So, and the fact that every moment of this thing was videotaped from every conceivable angle. In my particular case, there was not a moment where I wasn't, in somebody's camera view, and they were able to take my very, I would say, bland and innocuous, innocent actions and turn them into very evil. Oh, here he's planning to do this, and he showed up to do this, so he's going to beckon the crowd to, push and to more fighters to come up and all this stuff, and pouring water on people who had been maced, tear gas and all that. Was aiding and abetting, which eventually I had to go like, well, yeah, I guess it was sort of, because I didn't realize that it was all criminal activity at that point. But it was very odd because you can't really, like, when someone puts bad intentions on your completely innocent motives, it's like it's hard to get back from that because it's already colored by the negative, so.
I'm curious, was it hard to find a lawyer?
Well, it was a little daunting because I wouldn't know where to start, because I would have to find a lawyer in DC, and I certainly don't know one at all. So my brother's an attorney, and I asked him to think back when he was in school and see if anybody went off to DC and if he could talk to anyone and find somebody. And I can't tell you how much I lucked out. I found like the best attorney on the planet. So, who after he and I were working on this, he was appointed by Trump to work in the White House legal team. So he's Stanley Woodward Jr. He's an amazing attorney. So,
and so I just want to show people that here's Nancy Pelosi's daughter. She was caught on undercover video. She was at the Capitol on January 6th doing a documentary, and she's going to show you that the shaman, who everybody hated, he got, I don't know how many years he was sentenced to. They put him in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
She's going to tell you right now he didn't do anything.
I know who the shaman is, by the way.
Yeah, I had him on the
Q
show.
Shaman. Yeah, well, I impersonated him.
Yeah.
That led to my
yeah, that didn't help your
sentence.
case.
No, it did not.
Yeah. So here, watch this.
I mean, what did the shaman do? He stood there. What did Paul do? He stood there. The shaman got how many months?
Right.
41
Yeah.
compared to 8. So when I saw that, I was like, and I think that the government is going to go for more, that they're going to look to get bigger. Like, people are criticizing some of the people that got home commit. A lot of people have been getting probation and stuff. So I think they're looking to make people. Like, I think if Paul went now, he'd get a longer sentence.
What did he do? What did he do?
He just walked in with the Trump flag into the Senate.
That's it.
That's it.
And he got 31 months.
Now,
and she
will you guys agree with my? I just want to put a conspiracy theory out there. You don't have to agree with it, but I think Nancy Pelosi took a false flag shit in her own desk on January 6th.
Hey, brother, that was not a false flag.
So here is so here she is. More. This is Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who was at the Capitol on January 6th. So she said the shaman didn't do anything. And let's see what she says here. Let's see what this is. Oh, is this not play? Oh, this is that video that doesn't play.
And down below, let's see what it's saying.
She says, after the Democrats lose the House, then they get rid of the committee. People may lose interest, I think. No one is going to care after the Democrats are out of power. And you just take Biden out of office, then who's going to care? So they had to do that. So here, let's see what she says here.
I wouldn't go first for a trial because D.C. is a lot of people that work for the government,
Right.
and it's a lot of. I don't think they're unsympathetic.
The jury.
The jury is going to be.
We don't think the trial should be held there.
Well, if you got moved, you totally get off.
She said if you move the trial out of D.C., which is 90% Democrat, you're going to get an actual impartial jury, and they're not going to convict them. That's what she just basically said that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what she said.
That's why everybody was pushed into taking deals.
Yeah,
you know,
because they knew they were going to try him in D.C., and that you're dead. So here, let's go on one more. Here she is. She says if there was an insurrection, you're supposed to have a plan. This was the sorriest insurrection in history. Let's hear her say it.
If there was an insurrection, you were supposed to be in line marching. You're in the military, you know
Right.
this.
No, that's
You were supposed to have a plan.
Exactly. It's called
And
the
then you're
operations
saying,
order. You sit down
like-
overnight with your soldiers. You go
Right.
over. All right, you're gonna go here. You're gonna go in by this side. At this time, we're gonna take over this. There's none of
If
that.
there was an insurrection, it's the sorriest insurrection in
It's
the
the worst.
20th, 21st century ever. No guns,
A
no
guy-
plan,
A guy,
people taking selfies.
A guy smoking pot.
I love the guys.
Yeah, I'm like.
yeah, everyone's a critic, you know.
Ha.
So try and do an insurrection for God's sake.
So there she was saying, "What? There wasn't an insurrection. There was no plan. There was no nothing." That's Nancy
Hey, tell your
Pelosi.
mom.
That's Nancy Pelosi's daughter saying there was no insurrection. That's
Hey,
Nancy Pelosi.
Alexandra, did you
So-
run that up the flagpole?
So now, if you still think that there was an insurrection, it's because you've been propagandized, you dipshit. And you
Well.
don't want to believe that you've been. I watch the news. I read the New York Times. I'm not propagandized. They said it just like they said everywhere that ivermectin was horse paste instead of a Nobel Prize winning human medicine that's been prescribed billions of times.
Yeah, but tell me how
Okay, so
China
I
and
want-
North Korea are propagandizing their own people again. Tell me how China does. Where do you think you live? Not in
That's right.
something.
You
like
don't think you're
free-range
propagandized?
China?
You are. Here we go. Here's one more.
Okay, so I want you to know that I'm from New York City, and was always a long time ago friends with Gavin McInnes, who's supposedly the guy that started the Proud Boys.
right.
So she says, I've always been a longtime friend of Gavin McInnes, who supposedly started the Proud Boys. Nancy Pelosi's daughter, longtime friend with Gavin McInnes, just so you know. So you've been a victim of a lot of propaganda. Now, most of the people who need to hear this are going to reject it because they have egos and they're easily shattered people. So they can't accept this because they're not big enough to accept it, that they've been lied to and propagandized to hate half their country. That's what this is all about. It's about divide and conquer. The billionaires who own the media and who own the politicians. And here we are on an undercover video of Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who was there, telling you everything you've been told about January 6th is a lie. And you're not going to be able to accept it.
Nope. Yep. It's too close. Yeah, it's an ego thing. You cannot face that. It gives you a headache and your head goes like this immediately because it
Yes.
breaks through too many things that are just law to you, which is the news is right.
The news is right. Everywhere I look, they said that there's people standing in lines outside of emergency rooms. They can't get treatment for their gunshots because there's people who are taking ivermectin who are in. Remember that? Remember that? It was on every newspaper.
I went around to hospitals and saw that there was no people in the outside of hospitals.
Yes,
It was absolutely ridiculous.
That was all made up. That was printed in Newsweek. That was reported on
Rolling
CNN.
Stone.
But I didn't believe it at
Rolling
first.
Stone.
I actually drove to hospitals because a friend of mine did the same thing, and I thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's no way, and he was right.
It was completely made up to propagandize you about.
It's a creepy feeling. It's horrible.
People still don't realize that they still think hydroxychloroquine is fish tank cleaner.
Yeah.
They don't realize that there's literature from the NIH years before COVID saying that chloroquine is effective treatment for SARS coronavirus.
Mhm.
They don't know this because the
They won't
TV
look.
the TV didn't tell them. They
research.
forget that Fauci was the bad guy in the Dallas Buyers Club movie, a movie that Matthew McConaughey won the Academy Award for. They've completely memory hold that. Oh wait, he was an asshole. He was the guy. Yeah, he was the people that the gays were protesting against. He was the one who killed people. AZT, fantastic. He did experiments on orphaned black kids in New York, testing out AIDS drugs on them.
Didn't it bother to test if they even had AIDS, by the way?
Didn't even bother to test if they had. And by the way, BBC did a documentary on it. I forget what it's called now.
Well, so did Democracy Now, that reporter with the crooked mouth. What's her dumb name? And then years later, when I heard about that, I can never forget hearing about that. Amy Goodman was just talking about that like it didn't even happen when COVID came around.
That's right.
That doesn't stick in your head.
Again,
that
everybody-
horrific crime you know about.
Everybody memory hold. Anyway, so I bring that up just to let people know who are watching this that they've been propagandized by Russiagate, completely made up. Again, you don't have to like Trump, but you know that that's what they will do to someone who the establishment doesn't like and wants to get rid of. They will discredit you any way they can. Look at my Wikipedia page. They immediately try to discredit you because I told the truth. I debunked Russiagate. Complete Mueller report. There's absolutely no evidence.
Here's
No,
the level of
really?
brainwash. Yeah.
Really? So this guy who you said's working for Russia, Joe Biden just welcomed him to the White House? Everybody's
Yeah.
welcoming him?
Russian loving Hitler.
Yeah.
You know, Hitler loved Russia as well and
Yeah,
worked with Russia.
That's right.
Remember when Trump got elected and there's all the TikToks of the screaming, freaking out people that everybody, it's kind of bizarre how people like are entertained by it and there's like a little economy going. But didn't they remind you of when Kim Jong-il died and you saw the video of the North Koreans fake, oh no, he's dead. Didn't that look an awful like the performative, oh no, Trump got elected. It's the same level of brainwashing.
And
it's
now-
the same goddamn level.
And now they're all loving Trump. Barack Obama and him are yucking it up at Carter's funeral.
Well, that's for show. I mean,
Yeah.
they got to do that.
And so I'm just letting people know you were propagandized about the Ukraine war. Ukraine war was completely instigated by NATO and the United States. They don't know we overthrew the Ukraine's government in 2014, the Maidan coup. They have no idea that we did that.
They don't even know Ukraine's not winning.
They don't even know Ukraine's not winning.
How can you not know that?
Well, you just watch, I guess it's on YouTube. They have all the military, the videos of the war, and it's always slanted on Ukraine
They
as
don't-
being the ones that are right,
Yeah.
the
And-
evil Russians. And
They don't even know that Syria is now run by the former head or the head of Al Qaeda, not former, the head of Al Qaeda, that we were funding Al Qaeda. The people who attacked us on 9/11. By the way, Al Qaeda created by the United States, just like ISIS was created by the Mossad. And just people don't know that.
Yeah.
And
a little help from Pakistan too.
And now they're literally legit running Syria. Al Qaeda is with our help.
Republicans don't know that. I know because I wrote jokes for Rob to do, and he did one of them about how I was a joke about Biden's senile, so he accidentally put an Al Qaeda in charge. They're all dead. This is at Turning Point or something.
Yeah.
And they're all because it's an Israel thing to like.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good. So we're gonna not know things.
Yeah.
well, to
We're
be
gonna
honest, I don't
Epstein
know
worked
half this
for
shit.
suddenly.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling people this who are going to watch this video.
Well, I'm listening too. Is all
So
I'm
they
saying.
have no idea how much that Americans are the most propagandized people in the world right now.
Worse
people
than
in-
North Korea.
Worse than North Korea. The people in North Korea know they're being propagandized. That's the trick. The people in America think they're getting the news from the CIA-controlled, infested, and billionaire-run media, which also run the billionaire-controlled Congress, right? That's it. WHO, run by Bill Gates, not run by actual doctors. People don't know this.
He's just the front of the CIA. Look, bottom line is the Intel blob, the Intel covens run stuff, and they have for quite some time. Ever since they killed Kennedy. So the whole apparatus has been built up to be that. And all these dipshit liberals, and I know them, they're like, oh, hey, I think Barack Obama might secretly be pulling the strings with the Biden thing. They're like, oh, good. They all deep down know, and they think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
So the smarter ones will be like, well, it's the people around them that count, not the guy
Yeah.
you vote for. in a supposedly real democracy.
And that's another thing that I'm consistent about. I'm skeptical and critical and suspicious of the FBI and the CIA. Because of Trump, all the people who considered themselves lefties became authoritarians in love with the CIA and the FBI. They loved them. They love them now. They worship them. James Comey, the guy's a fucking, those people are career criminals.
Well,
Those are the people.
Jay.
Those are the people who did MLK, they did Bobby, the RFK Jr., they did JFK. They're the ones who lied us into the war in Iraq twice. They're the ones who lied us into Syria. They're the ones who lied us into Afghanistan. We just had a congressman on, Weldon, who, anyway, the whole thing.
How about all the fake domestic terrorists after 9/11? The thing they did to Jay Johnston is what they went around doing repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
Over 300 people with fake, the FBI made up fake terror things and did these lame entrapments.
That's right.
Because entrapment's not a crime for them. You know that? They just got to prove that you did, and this is a bizarre wording, what you did was in your nature to do.
Yeah, in your nature.
That's the legal thing. So all that means they have carte blanche to make fake terrorists, catch them, get more funding and power, pass more Patriot Act kind of bullshit. And now January 6th, a bunch of people that previously loved these assholes, you found out what they are. They're the scum of the earth. It's a mafia, and they don't want to stop doing it. They want to continue to do it.
Well, I do have a couple of airsoft guns. I don't know if that's, I mean, you know what? I was on the road to doing this anyway, obviously.
So
that's in your nature. An airsoft gun?
just like Governor Whitmer's when she was being kidnapped, they said it was this plot of these right wingers. It turns out in the van that went to do this plot and kidnap her, there was, I think, 13 people. 9 of them were FBI assets.
Yeah.
So that's why that went nowhere.
Even Antifa, the much
they're in jail
Antifa.
though. Those guys.
I'm just saying, 9 of the people in that van, FBI assets. I don't know. I didn't follow the rest of it. When I heard that,
got dismissed when they found out how many FBI assets.
It's just like when they tell you about.
Really? I thought they were in.
Yeah, there's only 4 guys. It got dismissed because it was so ridiculous.
Oh.
Even Breaking Points reported on that one.
It's just like Kyle Rittenhouse. I hated that kid because they said he was a white supremacist who didn't live in that community. He traveled across state lines with guns and he shot 3 black people. And then we watched the trial, and it turns out he did live in that community. He was a lifeguard in that community. He was asked to protect a car dealership by people of color because the cops wouldn't. He didn't travel across state lines with guns, and he didn't shoot 3 black people. He shot 3 white people. And I was like, whoa, that's a pretty remedial white supremacist.
Yes.
More accurately than a cop would have, by the way. That kid should be a cop because
That's right.
he only shot
He
when
shot
his
3.
life was in
He shot
danger.
3 people who were legitimately attacking him, and all 3 of those people were criminals.
Yeah. Well, we
All
all
3
didn't
of
like
them
him
were
because he's
legit.
got a really small round face.
Legit criminals. You don't have to, again, you don't have to like Kyle Rittenhouse to know that you were set up. That's why a jury of his peers unanimously found him not guilty.
Well, now I do like him because it turns out he's just a nice guy, and he did a great job. Screw that pedo that he shot, by the way.
The first guy he shot was a pedo.
Yep.
Yeah, and the next 2 guys he shot had guns on them.
Yeah, good for him. I
Jay-
mean, what's not to like?
Jay, will you just remind me, like, when they had you identified, right? FBI put your photo out there to identify this person. That was like, what was that, in June of?
Yeah, I'll say yes to that because I think it was around that time. Once they did that, they said, "Oh, we don't have the name of this person. He's wanted for in relation to violence at the Capitol, assault on a federal officer." And they put it on Twitter, and then a bunch of people were like, "Oh, that's Jay Johnson from this show or whatever," and I was like, "Ooh, boy, that's not good." And then,
And what was the what did they tell you would be the possible length of sentence initially?
Well, they hadn't charged me at that point. They said that they were planning on arresting me, but and they had proof of assault charges because I touched a shield, and they had that from the point of view of an officer's body cam. And so they said that they were putting the case together, and I just said, okay, but don't raid my house, please. You know, I'll come in. You let me know if you're going to arrest me. I'll come in and I'll cooperate or whatever because I didn't do anything. I figured it would not go much further, but it did. So It took a while. It took a while. I thought I was lucky for quite a while, but
Well, not to sound like a cynic, but I bet they knew who you were before they put out, does anybody know who this is? Because they caught Luigi Mangione off eyebrow profiling pretty quick, if you didn't notice. The purpose of putting that out and getting the Democrat crowd to participate in it to cement the narrative.
yeah.
Hey, who could this be? Immediately you could tell who it is. You think they don't know who it was? They put it out so people could get involved. And of course they're going to do a raid and come to your house. That's what Kamala did to single black mothers when she passed that truancy bill. Part of it is parading you in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
So
you're saying they just came to my
that.
house because they were fans? That's
Yes,
kind of
that's
cool,
exactly-
actually. Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, I got a spot. I got to go.
Okay, Kurt, we got to go too. Anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye, Jake?
Yeah, Jake, I'm glad. I was like, I hope Jake's going to be pardoned that day. I'm glad it got dismissed, man.
Thank
Good to hear
you.
that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I
you,
just,
brother.
Bye, buddy.
But
thank you.
But the
Yeah.
fact that it got dismissed means like you were never convicted, correct?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Can you
Yeah.
clarify that?
Yeah, I guess a pardon would be that it would still be on your record that you were, you were found guilty for a crime, a felony.
And you admitted guilt.
Well, that's something
Right.
I just learned, right? You admitted guilt.
But dismissal.
Complicit or whatever. Yeah, dismissal means it never happened. So it's not even on my record or anything. So
Did you think that that was a possibility
I
at
had
all?
no idea. No, it came out of the blue completely. Yeah. So it was it's pretty amazing. And
When did you find that out?
I found that out yesterday, after a day after the pardon. So, but it's funny because there was one of the co-defendants was the one who reported it on X because he was just amazed, I guess, himself. He just had found it out because he and I shared the same charge. And they, in order to dismiss my case, they had to dismiss his because otherwise it would be a little screwed up.
Right.
So it was a wonderful thing. So,
well, congratulations. And
thank you.
You don't think you'll be welcomed back into show business, do you?
Well, welcomed back. I'd
Or
like
allowed
to
back?
force my way in. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, if anybody has a pair of stones in the industry, maybe they would do something. But I'm
People
not going to
don't.
hold my breath.
No,
Yeah.
no. They're all go-alongs.
Yeah.
No, they're all go-alongs. Believe me. You know it. I don't have to tell you.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. But it's too bad.
Okay. All right, Jay, thanks for everybody. To go over to Steph.
All right, thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up, and then we're going to do locals for a quick 15 minutes.
No, but no local.
Oh, okay. We'll do it on Friday. We'll do a lot. It'll be a busy Friday. Okay, so premium streaming on Friday and locals on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Almost impossible to have a 2 without a 1 equals 3. Nathan, Kenya, Patillo, Rumtech. I like that the demons that roam Washington got a good dose of God up close and personal this inauguration around Rumtech. Hobbs, Jay Johnson is the American John Cleese, not to be confused with literal Hitler. Hobbs 11.
Okay.
Jimmy, if you need great sleep, check out Grounding Sheet. Got one
Oh,
for
I heard about
Christmas
this.
and never slept better. And my last one today is End Discrimination with Discrimination, Fight Racism with Racism. Back to Jimmy.
We should get one of those. I don't know. Let's Google grounding sheet. I've heard about this. Hey, did you know that drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee every day can slash your risk of death by 29% and cut heart complications nearly in half? But none of that matters if your coffee tastes like it's all syrup and no substance, courtesy of your local Starbucks. Enter 1775 coffee. There it is right there in my hand. Bold, hand-picked Bolivian beans, roasted in the United States, single origin, rigorously tested to the highest standards, and built for patriots who refuse to compromise. No fillers, no fraud, just pure coffee excellence. While other brands burn low-quality beans to mask their mistakes, 1775 coffee selects the best, like choosing patriots over politicians. It's coffee that boosts your metabolism, protects your heart, and keeps you sharper than a late-night Trump tweet. The best part, every dollar spent on 1775 coffee gets you entered to win a blacked out 2024 Tesla Cybertruck plus 30 grand in cash, as they say. Built like a tank, this beast is an apocalypse ready with the power to handle anything, whether it's your morning commute or the end of the world. Head to 1775coffee.com, stock up and fuel your mornings with rebellion. Use code, what's the code? No, it's not here. Use code DORE, D-O-R-E, for 15% off. Don't miss your chance to drive off on a Cybertruck and cash out with $30K.
All right, I just have 3 to read. The Watchers of Archons control the weak. The Watchers of Archons, A-R-C-H-O-N, Archons, Buddha and Gnostic Creation. I don't know, creation. It makes so much sense. Sorry, but the truth relieves of church, news, people's opinions, and even this show. The 138. I don't think I did it justice. Sorry, 138. Hey, Duck Fat. Nice handle. Roseanne Boylan was murdered on July 6th by Lila Morris. Her death was blamed on an overdose, even though there's video evidence of her getting beaten to death. And we're going to end on a happy note. That was tragic. Happy, you constantly remind people what a lefty is. Truth, Jimmy and Company. I'm on security, so every penny on Social Security, so every penny counts here in Hawaii. But love your work today. Sending appreciation, and appreciation to you too. We'll be back on, I think, Friday. Now go do something nice for somebody. Why not? Jay's free.
Woo! All right.